The explosion threw Lieutenant Marcus Kane against the twisted metal wall of the research station. Blood poured from a gash across his forehead as he struggled to focus his vision. The Zephyrian attack had come without warning, their plasma weapons tearing through the outer defenses like paper. Around him, the screams of his fellow soldiers echoed through the smoke-filled corridors. Queen Helena Morrison crouched behind an overturned table in the command center, her royal guards forming a protective circle around her. She had insisted on visiting the Frontier Research Station personally, despite the protests of her advisors. The discovery of the alien artifact had been too important to ignore. Now that decision might cost her everything. "Your Majesty, we need to evacuate immediately," Captain Ryan Brooks shouted over the sound of laser fire. His armor was scorched black from a near miss. "The transport ships are waiting in Docking Bay 7. Helena gripped her sidearm tighter. "What about our people? I won't abandon the soldiers still fighting." Through the shattered window she could see the Zephyrians advancing across the station's main deck. Their towering blue forms moved with deadly precision, their 4 arms wielding weapons that hummed with lethal energy. How it could have slipped outside of our perimeters. These weren't the first aliens humanity had encountered, but they were certainly the most aggressive. Kane struggled to his feet, using his rifle as support. His vision swam as he watched his squad take positions behind fallen debris. Sergeant Lisa Williams was already setting up the heavy plasma cannon while Private Jake Morrison prepared the ammunition. Kane's chest burned with each breath, and he could taste copper in his mouth. "Sarge, how many rounds do we have left?" Kane called out, trying to keep his voice steady. Williams checked the ammunition counter. 12 plasma charges and maybe 30 projectile rounds. Not enough for a prolonged fight. The station's emergency lights cast eerie red shadows across the battlefield. In the research lab, Dr. Patricia Hayes was still working frantically to secure the alien samples. The crystalline containers held various forms of extraterrestrial biological matter that had been collected over months of dangerous expeditions. Kane felt his strength leaving him. The impact had done more damage than he initially realized. His left side felt numb, and breathing was becoming increasingly difficult. He looked down and saw the dark stains spreading across his uniform. Internal bleeding. He had seen it before, in other soldiers. There was no coming back from this without immediate medical attention. Queen Helen watched through the security monitors as her soldiers fought desperately to buy them time. She recognized Kane from his service record. He had saved dozens of colonists on the mining planet Kepler. Now he was giving his life for her. The Zephyrians reached the main corridor, their weapons charging with an ominous blue glow. Kane raised his rifle, knowing it would be his last stand. That perimeter is harmless and experiences. The world was starting to fade around the edges. "Contact the Aurora fleet," Helena ordered. "Tell them to prepare for immediate departure. We cannot let the research fall into enemy hands." But even as she spoke, she knew it might be too late. The Zephyrians had already breached 3 security checkpoints. Their technology was far superior to human weapons. The only reason they hadn't been completely overwhelmed was the tactical advantage of fighting inside the station's narrow corridors. Kane's rifle fell from his hands as his knees buckled. He looked up at the security camera, knowing the Queen might be watching. He tried to mouth the words "Long live humanity," but no sound came out. His vision blurred further as the Zephyrian warriors approached his position. Williams saw Kane collapse and knew they had lost their best marksman. She called out to the remaining soldiers, "Fall back to position. Delta, we need to regroup." But Kane couldn't move. He lay there, watching the ceiling blur in and out of focus. The sound of battle seemed to come from very far away now. His heart was slowing, each beat weaker than the last. This was how it would end. On some forgotten research station millions of miles from Earth, Helena made a decision that would change everything. She stood up from behind the table, ignoring the protests of her guards. "Your Majesty, please stay down," Brooks pleaded. "No," she said firmly. "I'm going to that lab." "Dr. Hayes, what exactly are those samples?" Helena asked through the communication system. Hayes looked up from her work, sweat dripping down her face. "We're not entirely sure, Your Majesty. But the preliminary tests suggest they have remarkable regenerative properties. We found them in the Zephyrian ships we captured last year." How it could have slipped outside of our perimeters. Helena's mind raced. If the alien blood could heal, maybe there was still hope. The explosion threw Lieutenant Marcus Kane against the twisted metal wall of the research station. Blood poured from a gash across his forehead as he struggled to focus his vision. The Zephyrian attack had come without warning, their plasma weapons tearing through the outer defenses like paper. Around him, the screams of his fellow soldiers echoed through the smoke-filled corridors. Queen Helena Morrison ducked as another blast shook the command center. Her royal dress was torn and dirty, far from the pristine condition it had been in just hours ago. The weight of command pressed down on her shoulders as she watched her people die defending the research station. Kane felt his consciousness slipping away. The last thing he saw was a figure in royal blue moving through the chaos, heading directly toward the research lab where the alien samples were stored. Dr. Hayes had been studying the mysterious biological samples for months. The crystalline containers held what appeared to be blood from various alien species, each with unique properties. One particular sample, a silvery liquid with an almost metallic sheen, had shown incredible results in cellular regeneration tests. As the battle raged outside, Helena made her way through the damaged corridors toward the lab. She had to try something, anything. Her soldiers were dying, and conventional medicine couldn't help them now. Kane's breathing became shallow as his life force ebbed away. In the distance, he could hear the Queen's voice giving orders, but the words sounded like they were coming from underwater. He closed his eyes and waited for the end. But Helena Morrison was not ready to accept defeat. Queen Helena reached the research lab just as another explosion rocked the station. Dr. Hayes was frantically packing the most critical samples into a protective case, her hands shaking as she worked. "Doctor, I need to know about that silver substance," Helena said, pointing to the container that seemed to glow with its own inner light. Hayes looked up, surprised to see the Queen in such a dangerous location. "Your Majesty, you shouldn't be here. The lab isn't secure." "Answer the question," Helena commanded, her voice carrying the authority that had led humanity through its greatest challenges. Hayes set down her equipment and turned to face her ruler. "We call it Essence 7. It's from a species we encountered in the Andromeda sector. Our tests show it can accelerate cellular repair at an incredible rate. We've seen dead tissue regenerate completely within hours." Helena's eyes widened. "What about humans? Have you tested it on human subjects?" "Only in laboratory conditions," Hayes replied nervously. "The results were promising, but we haven't had clinical trials. The risks are unknown." Through the lab's reinforced window, Helena could see the battlefield. Kane was lying motionless near an overturned transport container. His squad continued fighting around his position, but she could tell they were losing ground rapidly. "Doctor, that soldier out there is dying. Would the alien blood save him?" Hayes followed the Queen's gaze to where Kane lay. "Possibly, but... Your Majesty, we don't know what side effects might occur. The molecular structure is completely different from human blood. It could cure him, or it could be fatal." Helena made another decision that went against every protocol in the Royal Handbook. She grabbed the container holding Essence 7 and started toward the door. "Your Majesty, wait," Hayes called after her. "If you're determined to try this, at least let me prepare a proper dosage. Too much could be as dangerous as too little." Helena stopped and turned back. "How long do we have?" Hayes looked at the monitors showing Kane's vital signs from his suit's medical sensors. "Minutes at most. His life signs are fading rapidly." The doctor quickly prepared a measured amount of the silvery liquid in a medical injector. "This should be enough to trigger regeneration without overwhelming his system," she said, handing it to Helena. Captain Brooks appeared in the doorway, his face grim. "Your Majesty, the Zephyrians have broken through the secondary defenses. We need to evacuate now." Helena tucked the injector into her jacket. "Get everyone to the evacuation points. I'll be right behind you." "Ma'am, I can't leave you here alone." "That's an order, Captain," Helena said firmly. "Your duty is to preserve the majority, not coddle one person." Brooks hesitated, then saluted. "Yes, Your Majesty." As her guards withdrew, Helena made her way through the chaos toward Kane's position. Laser fire zipped past her head, and she had to duck behind debris several times to avoid the Zephyrian weapons. Kane could barely hear the sounds of battle anymore. His world had shrunk down to the rhythm of his weakening heartbeat. Each breath was a struggle, and he knew there wouldn't be many more. He thought about his family back on Earth, his sister Jenny, who was studying to become a teacher, his parents who had been so proud when he joined the Royal Guard. Then he felt hands on his shoulders. Someone was lifting his head, pressing something cold against his lips. He tried to open his eyes, but everything was too blurry. A voice spoke to him, soft but commanding. "Soldier, I need you to swallow this. It's going to help you." Kane felt liquid entering his mouth. It tasted metallic, almost electrical, unlike anything he had ever experienced. The substance seemed to tingle as it went down his throat, sending strange sensations throughout his entire body. Helena held Kane's head steady as she administered the alien blood. She could feel his pulse growing weaker under her fingers. Around them, the battle continued to rage, but she focused entirely on the dying soldier in front of her. "Come on," she whispered. "Fight. Your people need you." For several long moments, nothing happened. Kane's breathing remained shallow, his skin pale and cold. Helena began to fear that they had been too late, that the alien blood would have no effect on human physiology. Then Kane's eyes snapped open. The change was immediate and dramatic. Color returned to his face, as if someone had turned up the brightness on a display screen. His breathing deepened and became steady. The wound on his head began to close before Helena's amazed eyes. "What happened?" Kane asked, his voice clear and strong. He sat up without difficulty, looking around at the battlefield with newfound alertness. Helena stared at him in wonder. "You were dying. I gave you something that might save your life." Kane looked down at his uniform where the bloodstain had been. The fabric was still torn, but underneath his skin was whole and undamaged. He felt stronger than he ever had before, as if every cell in his body was operating at peak efficiency. A Zephyrian warrior appeared around the corner, its forearms raised and weapons charging. Kane moved with incredible speed, rolling behind cover and bringing up his rifle in one fluid motion. His shot was perfect, striking the alien's center mass and dropping it instantly. Helena watched in amazement as Kane continued moving with enhanced reflexes and strength. Whatever the alien blood had done to him, it had transformed him into something beyond normal human capability. The tide of battle was about to turn. Kane felt the alien blood coursing through his veins like liquid fire. Every sense was heightened beyond anything he had ever experienced. He could hear individual heartbeats among his squad members, smell the ozone from discharged weapons, and see details in the smoky darkness that should have been impossible. "Your Majesty, you need to get to safety," Kane said as he helped Helena take cover behind a reinforced barrier. His voice had changed, becoming deeper and more resonant. Helena studied his face, noting the subtle changes. His eyes seemed brighter, almost luminescent in the dim emergency lighting. The scar that had marked his left cheek from a training accident years ago was completely gone. Sergeant Williams approached their position, her jaw dropping when she saw Kane standing upright. "Lieutenant, I saw you go down. I thought you were finished." Kane looked at his hands, watching as cuts from the debris healed before his eyes. "I don't understand it myself, Sergeant, but I feel like I could take on their entire fleet right now." 3 Zephyrian warriors rounded the corner in formation, their weapons already charging. Kane moved before anyone else could react. His speed was inhuman as he leaped over the barrier and closed the distance between them. His combat knife found its target with precision that defied normal human reflexes. The first alien fell before its companions could adjust their aim. Kane rolled under the second warrior's weapon discharge and came up inside its reach. His enhanced strength allowed him to lift the massive creature and throw it into the third attacker. Helena watched the display with growing amazement and concern. The alien blood had certainly saved Kane's life, but what else was it doing to him? Dr. Hayes' voice crackled through the communication system. "Your Majesty, are you seeing this? The biomonitors from Lieutenant Kane's suit are showing readings I've never seen before. His cellular activity is off the charts." Kane stood among the fallen Zephyrians, breathing easily despite the intense combat. He looked back at Helena, and she saw something different in his expression. There was still recognition there, still loyalty, but also something primal and dangerous. "Lieutenant, how do you feel?" Helena asked carefully. Kane considered the question. Powerful, Your Majesty. Like I could run forever, fight anything. The pain is completely gone, and I think I'm stronger than before. Williams approached cautiously. Sir, we need to organize a counterattack while the aliens are regrouping. They've fallen back to the outer corridors. Kane nodded, but Helena noticed his movements had become more fluid, almost predatory. Gather the remaining squads, Sergeant. We're going to push them off this station. As Kane began coordinating with the other soldiers, Helena activated her private communication channel to Dr. Hayes. Doctor, I need to know what we've done to that man, Helena said quietly. Hayes's voice was troubled. The readings are unlike anything in our medical database. His healing rate is accelerated by several 1,000%. His reflexes and strength appear enhanced. But Your Majesty, we're in uncharted territory here. What are the risks? We don't know. The alien blood might continue changing him. He could develop abilities we can't predict, or there could be long-term health consequences. We're essentially conducting a live experiment. Helena watched Kane as he effortlessly lifted a piece of debris that would normally require 3 men to move. The other soldiers looked at their lieutenant with expressions ranging from awe to uncertainty. Private Morrison approached Kane with a report. Sir, we've lost contact with squads 7 and 9. The aliens have them pinned down in the maintenance section. Kane's enhanced hearing picked up sounds of distant combat that the others couldn't detect. I can hear them fighting, he said. They're approximately 400 meters north of our position. Williams frowned. Sir, that's impossible. The combat noise from here would mask any sounds from that distance. Kane looked at her with his strangely bright eyes. Trust me, Sergeant. I can hear things differently now. He was right. When they reached the maintenance section, they found squads 7 and 9 engaged in a desperate firefight with a group of Zephyrian warriors. Kane assessed the situation with tactical awareness that seemed almost supernatural. Williams, take your team around the east corridor. Morrison, cover the west approach. I'll go straight through the middle, Kane ordered. Sir, that's suicide, Williams protested. There are at least 8 hostiles in direct line of sight. Kane smiled, an expression that seemed somehow different from his normal grin. Not anymore. He charged directly into the alien position, with speed that left his team struggling to keep up. His rifle fire was impossibly accurate, each shot finding its target despite the chaotic conditions. When his ammunition ran out, he drew his combat knife and engaged the Zephyrians in close combat. Helena, who had insisted on following despite the danger, watched as Kane fought with skills that transcended normal human training. He seemed to anticipate every move the aliens made, flowing around their attacks like water. Within minutes, the entire enemy squad was neutralized. Kane stood in the center of the carnage, not even breathing hard. The rescued soldiers stared at him with expressions of shock and gratitude. Lieutenant Kane, that was incredible, said Corporal Amy Foster from Squad 7. I've never seen anyone move like that. Kane helped her to her feet, his enhanced strength making the task effortless. Just doing my job, Corporal. But Helena could see that it was more than that. Kane was changing, becoming something beyond human limitations. The question was whether that change would ultimately benefit humanity or doom them all. Doctor, Hayes' urgent voice came through the communication system. Your Majesty, I'm detecting massive Zephyrian reinforcements approaching the station. We have maybe 10 minutes before they arrive in overwhelming numbers. Kane heard the transmission and looked directly at Helena. Your Majesty, I believe I can buy us the time we need to evacuate everyone safely. Lieutenant, you've already done enough, Helena replied. We need to get you to a medical facility for proper examination. Kane's enhanced senses detected the approaching alien fleet before any of their sensors could register it. With respect, Your Majesty, I don't think normal medical science will help me now, but I can help you. The transformation was accelerating. Kane stood at the observation window, his enhanced vision tracking movement in space that normal human eyes couldn't detect. The Zephyrian reinforcement fleet was massive, easily 3 times larger than anything they had faced before. But instead of fear, he felt only cold calculation. Your Majesty, there are 47 enemy vessels approaching, Kane reported. Their formation suggests they're planning to surround the station and prevent any escape. Helena looked at the empty displays that wouldn't show incoming ships for several more minutes. How can you possibly know that? I can see them, Kane said simply. The alien blood has changed more than just my healing ability. Dr. Hayes burst into the command center, her medical scanner beeping frantically. Lieutenant Kane, I need to examine you immediately. Your biological readings are showing mutations at the genetic level. Kane turned to face the doctor, his movements unnaturally smooth. Doctor, with respect, I don't have time for medical examinations. My people need immediate evacuation. The changes could be dangerous, Hayes insisted. We don't know how the alien blood will affect your long-term health or mental state. Kane's expression darkened slightly. My mental state is perfectly clear. Clearer than it's ever been, actually. I can process information faster, see tactical solutions that were invisible before. Helena stepped between them. Lieutenant, Dr. Hayes is right to be concerned. But she's also right that we need to evacuate. Can your enhanced abilities help us get everyone off the station safely? Kane nodded. I believe so, Your Majesty. But I'll need to stay behind to secure the evacuation routes. Absolutely not, Helena said firmly. I won't leave anyone behind. Especially not someone who just saved all our lives. Your Majesty, I'm no longer just someone, Kane replied. The alien blood has made me into something else, something that might be immune to their weapons, or at least resistant enough to hold them off. Williams approached with the evacuation report. Sir, we have 243 personnel ready for transport. The civilian scientists and wounded are already aboard the first shuttle. Kane's enhanced hearing detected the low hum of approaching Zephyrian engines. They'll be in weapons range in 6 minutes, Sergeant. We need to move faster. He strode to the weapons control panel and began entering commands with inhuman speed. His fingers moved across the controls in a blur as he activated every defensive system the station possessed. Lieutenant, what are you doing? Williams asked. Buying us time, Kane replied. I'm programming the defense grid for maximum effectiveness. The calculations are complex, but I can process them now. Helena watched in fascination as Kane worked. His hands moved with mechanical precision, entering targeting solutions that would normally require a team of specialists hours to compute. Dr. Hayes continued scanning Kane with her medical equipment. Your Majesty, his brain activity is showing patterns I've never seen before. It's as if the alien blood has unlocked dormant portions of his mind. Is that good or bad? Helena asked. I honestly don't know. He's becoming something unprecedented in human evolution. Kane finished his work and turned back to the group. The defensive grid will hold them for approximately 12 minutes. That should be enough time to evacuate everyone except the essential personnel. And then what? Helena demanded. Kane was quiet for a moment, his enhanced senses tracking the approaching alien fleet. Then I hold the line until you're safe. Lieutenant, that's not a strategy. It's suicide, Williams protested. Kane looked at her with eyes that now glowed with faint silver light. Sergeant, I don't think normal definitions apply to me anymore. I feel like I could fight for days without fatigue. The alien blood hasn't just healed me, it's evolved me. Helena made another command decision. Doctor, Hayes, pack up your equipment and research. Lieutenant Kane, you're coming with us. Your Majesty, I respectfully decline that order. The room fell silent. In all her years of command, Helena had never had a direct order refused by a subordinate. Kane continued in a calm voice. I understand the political implications of my refusal, but the tactical situation demands that I remain. Someone needs to operate the defense grid, and I'm the only one capable of processing the targeting data fast enough. The first enemy shots began striking the station's outer shields. Kane moved to the main control console and began coordinating the defensive response with superhuman efficiency. Your Majesty, you need to evacuate now, Kane said, while simultaneously managing dozens of weapon systems. The window of opportunity is closing. Helena stood her ground. Not without you, Lieutenant. Kane paused his work and looked directly at her. For a moment, his expression softened, revealing traces of the man he had been before the transformation. Your Majesty, I swore an oath to protect humanity. The alien blood has given me the ability to honor that oath in ways I never imagined possible. Please, don't ask me to abandon my duty. Helena saw the determination in his silver-bright eyes and realized that Kane was no longer the soldier she had known. He was something new, something potentially vital to humanity's survival. "Very well, Lieutenant, but you will report to me as soon as this is over." "That's not a request." Kane smiled, showing teeth that seemed sharper than they should be. "Yes, Your Majesty. I'll see you on the other side." As Helena and the evacuation teams prepared to depart, Kane turned his full attention to the approaching alien fleet. The transformation was nearly complete now, and he could feel power coursing through his body that defied every law of human biology. The real test was about to begin. The evacuation shuttles launched from the station's docking bays, as Kane single-handedly operated the entire defensive grid. His enhanced reflexes allowed him to track dozens of targets simultaneously, while calculating intercept trajectories that pushed the weapon systems beyond their design specifications. Through the command center's reinforced windows, Helena watched the impossible display of tactical coordination. Kane stood at the central console, his hands moving across multiple control panels with mechanical precision. Every shot fired from the station's weapons found its target with mathematical accuracy. "Dr. Hayes, are you recording this?" Helena asked, through her communication device from the shuttle. "Yes, Your Majesty. The Lieutenant's coordination of the defense grid is beyond anything a normal human could accomplish. He's processing battlefield data at a rate that should be impossible." On the main screen, Helena could see the Zephyrian fleet taking heavy casualties as Kane's enhanced abilities turned the research station into an impregnable fortress. Ships that had seemed unstoppable were being systematically destroyed by precisely coordinated weapon fire. Kane's voice came through the communication system, calm and controlled despite the intense battle. "Evacuation shuttles are clear of the combat zone, Your Majesty. You can proceed to the rendezvous point." "Lieutenant, what about you?" Helena asked. "I'm going to continue holding this position until the alien fleet retreats or is destroyed." Through her security monitors, Helena watched Kane work. His movements had become completely fluid, no longer quite human in their precision. The silver light in his eyes had grown brighter, and she could see veins of the same metallic color running along his exposed skin. William's voice crackled through the static. "Sir, long-range sensors show 3 more Zephyrian fleets approaching from different vectors. You're going to be completely surrounded." Kane processed this information without any visible concern. "Understood, Sergeant. I'm tracking them on the enhanced sensor grid. Approximately 15 minutes until they reach effective range." Dr. Hayes monitored Kane's biological readings from her mobile equipment aboard the shuttle. "Your Majesty, his vital signs are continuing to change. Heart rate is elevated but steady. Brain activity is operating at levels I didn't know were possible. He's becoming something entirely new." Helena made a decision that went against every tactical manual ever written. "Turn the shuttle around." "We're going back for him," Captain Brooks protested immediately. "Your Majesty, that's exactly what Lieutenant Kane sacrificed himself to prevent. We cannot risk the evacuation operation." "Then I'll go back alone," Helena declared. "Prepare a single-person transport pod." "Ma'am, that's completely out of the question," Brooks replied firmly. Helena activated the emergency command codes that overrode all objections. "Captain, Hayes, you're in command of the evacuation fleet. Get everyone to safety." Before anyone could stop her, Helena had sealed herself inside a rapid transport pod and launched back toward the research station. The small craft streaked through space, its stealth systems allowing it to avoid detection by the alien fleet. Kane sensed her return before the station's sensors detected the pod. His enhanced perception extended far beyond normal human ranges now. "Your Majesty, why have you returned?" Helena's voice came through the communication system as her pod docked with the station. "Because I made a promise not to leave anyone behind." Kane felt something stir in his chest that had nothing to do with the alien blood flowing through his veins. For the first time since his transformation began, he felt truly human again. "Your Majesty, the tactical situation has not improved. If anything, it's gotten worse." Helena made her way through the station's damaged corridors toward the command center. "Lieutenant, I've been thinking about what Dr. Hayes said. You're becoming something new, something that could change the course of this war." When she reached the command center, Helena saw the full extent of Kane's transformation. His skin had taken on a subtle metallic sheen, and his eyes now glowed with silver light that pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. He was still recognizably human, but enhanced far beyond normal limitations. "Kane, I need you to listen to me carefully," Helena said. "The alien blood didn't just save your life. It might have given humanity its first real weapon against the Zephyrian Empire." Kane continued operating the defense grid while listening to his queen. "Your Majesty, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know if I'm still human enough to be trusted with that kind of power." Helena stepped closer, studying his transformed features. "You saved over 200 lives today. You've shown tactical brilliance that no normal human could match. Whatever the alien blood has made you, you're still the soldier who swore an oath to protect humanity." The approaching Zephyrian fleets began their final approach, surrounding the station from 3 directions. Kane's enhanced senses detected their battle formations and weapon charges. The next few minutes would determine whether humanity's newest guardian could stand against impossible odds. "Your Majesty, I need to ask something of you," Kane said quietly. "What is it, Lieutenant?" Kane looked at her with his glowing silver eyes. "If I lose control, if the alien blood changes me into something dangerous to our own people, I need you to promise me something." Helena felt a chill run down her spine. "What kind of promise?" "Promise me you'll do whatever is necessary to protect humanity, even if that means protecting them from me." Before Helena could respond, the first wave of enemy fire struck the station's shields with devastating force. The battle that would determine humanity's future was about to begin. The Zephyrian fleet opened fire with coordinated precision that would have overwhelmed any normal defense. Plasma beams and energy torpedoes struck the research station's shields from 3 directions simultaneously. But Kane was no longer limited by normal human reaction times. His enhanced consciousness processed the incoming fire patterns and calculated defensive responses faster than any computer system ever built. The station's weapons grid responded with perfect timing, intercepting enemy fire and returning devastating volleys that found their targets with impossible accuracy. Queen Helena watched in amazement as Kane orchestrated the defense. His hands moved across multiple control panels simultaneously, while his eyes tracked dozens of enemy vessels on the tactical displays. The silver glow in his pupils had intensified, pulsing with each calculation. "Lieutenant, how are you managing all of this simultaneously?" Helena asked. Kane's voice remained calm despite coordinating hundreds of weapon systems. "The alien blood has changed how my brain processes information, Your Majesty. I can see tactical patterns and solutions that were invisible before." On the main display, the Zephyrian fleet was taking heavy casualties. Ships that had seemed unstoppable were being systematically destroyed by Kane's precisely coordinated defense. But Helena could see that the enemy was adapting, changing their attack patterns to probe for weaknesses. Dr. Hayes' voice crackled through the communication system from the evacuation fleet. "Your Majesty, I'm detecting massive energy buildup from the alien flagship. They're preparing some kind of superweapon." Kane's enhanced senses confirmed the doctor's readings. Through the station's sensors, he could detect energy patterns that suggested a weapon capable of destroying the entire research facility in a single shot. "Your Majesty, we have approximately 90 seconds before they fire their primary weapon," Kane reported. "The station's shields won't be able to withstand that level of concentrated energy." Helena felt her heart racing. "Can we evacuate in time?" "Not both of us," Kane replied matter-of-factly. "But I might be able to overload the station's reactor and take their fleet with us." "Lieutenant, that's not an option," Helena said firmly. Kane's transformation had accelerated under the stress of combat. The metallic veins running along his skin now pulsed with silver light, and his movements had become completely fluid. When he spoke, his voice carried harmonics that seemed almost musical. "Your Majesty, I can feel the alien blood continuing to change me. I'm becoming something that might not be able to coexist with normal human society. Perhaps it's better if I end this here, taking our enemies with me." Helena grabbed Kane's arm, surprised by the warmth radiating from his transformed skin. "Marcus Kane, you listen to me. You are still human where it counts. You've saved countless lives today, and humanity needs you." For a moment, Kane's silver eyes focused on her face with an expression that was entirely human. "Your Majesty, I don't know what I'm becoming. The power is incredible, but I can feel it changing my thoughts as well as my body. Then we face that challenge together, Helena declared. But first, we survive this battle. Kane turned back to the tactical displays as the Zephyrian superweapon reached full charge. Your Majesty, I'm going to try something that conventional tactics would consider impossible. Instead of preparing the station's defenses, Helena watched in alarm as their defensive fire ceased completely. Lieutenant, what are you doing? Kane's fingers flew across the control panels with inhuman speed. I'm redirecting all available power to the sensor array and navigation thrusters. If I can calculate their weapons targeting solution perfectly, I might be able to move the station out of the line of fire at the precise moment they shoot. Helena realized the incredible complexity of what Kane was attempting. The timing would have to be perfect to the microsecond. Yes, Kane replied, his silver eyes blazing with concentration. And the calculations involve hundreds of variables, including gravitational effects, the station's structural integrity, and the exact energy output of their weapon. The alien flagship superweapon reached critical charge. Through the viewports, Helena could see the massive barrel beginning to glow with deadly energy. Kane's enhanced senses tracked every detail of the weapon's preparation, calculating the precise moment when it would fire. Your Majesty, hold on to something, Kane said quietly. At the exact instant the Zephyrian weapon discharged, Kane fired the station's positioning thrusters in a pattern so complex that no normal human could have calculated it. The research facility twisted through space like a dancer, sliding away from the destructive beam by mere meters. The superweapon's energy blast passed harmlessly through the space where the station had been moments before, continuing on to strike one of the Zephyrian fleet's own supporting vessels. The explosion lit up the darkness of space as the friendly fire destroyed a significant portion of their own forces. Kane immediately restored power to the weapons grid and launched a coordinated counterattack while the enemy fleet was still recovering from their tactical error. His enhanced abilities allowed him to target the confusion and systematically destroy the remaining alien vessels. Within minutes, the entire Zephyrian attack force had been neutralized. Helena stared at the tactical display showing nothing but debris where 3 enemy fleets had been moments before. Kane, what you just accomplished should have been impossible. Kane turned from the control panels, and Helena could see that his transformation was still progressing. His features remained human, but refined beyond normal limits. The silver light in his eyes had settled into a steady glow that spoke of intelligence operating far beyond baseline human capacity. Your Majesty, I think the alien blood has given me more than just enhanced healing and reflexes. I believe it's unlocked potential that exists in all humans, dormant capabilities that evolution never had reason to activate. Helena studied his transformed features with growing understanding. You're suggesting that this could be humanity's next step forward? Possibly, Kane replied. But I'm also aware that power of this magnitude could be dangerous if not properly controlled. I felt moments during the battle where my human compassion was being overwhelmed by pure tactical calculation. The communication system activated with Dr. Supermai. Hayes' urgent voice. Your Majesty, we're detecting massive Zephyrian reinforcements approaching from multiple star systems. This was apparently just the advance force. Kane's enhanced senses confirmed the approaching threat. I count approximately 300 vessels across 12 different fleets, Your Majesty. They'll arrive within 6 hours. Helena felt the weight of command settling on her shoulders again. Lieutenant, can the research station survive another attack of that magnitude? Kane considered the question with his enhanced analytical abilities. Not with conventional tactics and normal human limitations. But, Your Majesty, I don't think I qualify as normal anymore. Helena looked at the man who had been transformed by alien blood into something unprecedented in human history. The future of her species might depend on understanding and controlling the power that now flowed through Marcus Kane's veins. Kane, I'm giving you a field promotion to Colonel and full tactical command of this sector. Your first assignment is to figure out how to use your abilities to protect humanity. Kane saluted with motions that had become perfectly precise. Yes, Your Majesty, I won't disappoint you. As they prepared for the approaching battle, Helena realized that humanity was about to discover whether evolution through alien blood would be their salvation or their doom. Colonel Kane stood before the massive tactical display, his transformed senses processing incoming data streams that would overwhelm normal human perception. The approaching Zephyrian armada represented the largest alien military force humanity had ever faced, yet Kane felt no fear, only cold analytical determination. Queen Helena watched as Kane coordinated defensive preparations with superhuman efficiency. His enhanced abilities allowed him to simultaneously communicate with scattered human fleets, calculate optimal positioning for orbital defense platforms, and analyze enemy fleet compositions in real time. Your Majesty, I've identified a critical weakness in their formation, Kane reported, his silver eyes tracking movement patterns across the holographic display. The Zephyrians are using standard pack tactics, but their coordination depends on quantum communication between their command vessels. Can we disrupt their communications? Kane's transformed mind had already calculated dozens of attack scenarios. Better than that, I believe we can turn their coordination system against them. If I can infiltrate their command network, I might be able to feed false information that causes them to attack each other. Dr. Hayes' voice came through the communication system from the evacuation fleet. Colonel Kane, your biological readings are still evolving. The alien blood appears to be continuing its transformation of your neural pathways. Kane felt the changes happening within his consciousness. Information processing that would have required hours of computer analysis was becoming instinctive. Doctor, I can sense the progression. My cognitive abilities are expanding beyond anything previously recorded in human subjects. Sir, is your personality remaining stable? Helena asked with concern. Kane paused to examine his own mental state. I believe so, Your Majesty. The enhanced capabilities feel like natural extensions of my existing thought processes rather than foreign additions. Through the research station's communication array, Kane began probing the Zephyrian fleet's information networks. His transformed consciousness interfaced with their quantum communication systems in ways that normal human thinking couldn't achieve. Your Majesty, I'm detecting something unexpected, Kane said as he processed the alien data streams. The Zephyrians aren't just military conquerors. They're collecting biological samples from every species they encounter. Helena felt a chill of understanding. They're looking for other sources of enhancement blood. Kane nodded grimly. The sample that saved my life appears to be part of a larger pattern. The Zephyrians have been harvesting genetic material from dozens of intelligent species, searching for the perfect combination of traits. As Kane delved deeper into the alien database, his enhanced perception revealed the horrifying scope of the Zephyrian Empire's biological warfare program. They had been systematically destroying civilizations and collecting their genetic heritage for use in creating super soldiers. Your Majesty, humanity isn't their first target. We're just the latest in a long line of species they've harvested. But we might also be their first failure, because the alien blood worked differently on humans. Exactly, Kane replied. The enhancement process that created their super soldiers appears to have evolved beyond their control when applied to human physiology. Instead of creating obedient weapons, it's produced something independent. The approaching Zephyrian fleets had closed to within 2 hours of the research station. Kane could sense their individual ship configurations and weapon loadouts through the intercepted communication signals. The enemy force was large enough to destroy entire solar systems. Kane made a decision that would have been impossible for normal human psychology to contemplate. Your Majesty, I'm going to board their flagship. Helena's expression shifted to alarm. Colonel, that's absolutely out of the question. You'd be walking into the heart of enemy territory with no support. Kane's enhanced tactical analysis had already calculated the probability matrices. Your Majesty, conventional warfare cannot defeat a force of this magnitude, but if I can reach their command center, my transformed abilities might allow me to take control of their entire fleet. The risks are astronomical, Helena protested. Kane looked at her with eyes that now glowed with steady silver light. Your Majesty, I was dead 6 hours ago. Everything since then has been borrowed time. If there's a chance to save humanity, I have to take it. Dr. Hayes' panicked voice crackled through the communication system. Colonel Kane, your transformation is accelerating rapidly. I'm detecting genetic changes that go far beyond the original alien blood sample. Kane examined his hands, watching as the metallic veins pulsed with increasing intensity. Doctor, I can feel the changes. It's as if the alien blood is unlocking dormant potential that's been waiting in human DNA for millions of years. Helena made another command decision. If you're determined to attempt this infiltration, Colonel, you're not going alone. Helena's royal authority cut through Kane's objections. Colonel, you've been transformed by alien blood into something unprecedented. I've been trained from birth to lead humanity through its greatest challenges. We make a good team. Kane's enhanced perception detected Helena's elevated stress levels and recognized the determination that had made her one of humanity's most effective leaders. Your Majesty, if we do this, we go in knowing that failure means the extinction of our species. Then we don't fail, Helena replied simply. As they prepared for the most dangerous mission in human history, Kane felt the alien blood surging through his system with increasing power. Whatever he was becoming, whatever humanity's future held, the next few hours would determine everything. The Zephyrian flagship loomed ahead like a metallic mountain, its weapons arrays glowing with enough firepower to vaporize planets. Kane piloted the stealth infiltration craft with reflexes that had transcended human limitations, weaving through the enemy fleet's sensor net with impossible precision. Queen Helena monitored their approach from the co-pilot's seat, her royal training in tactical analysis allowing her to understand the complexity of Kane's flying. Colonel, how are you avoiding their detection systems? Kane's enhanced consciousness processed sensor data across multiple spectrum ranges simultaneously. The alien blood has given me perception capabilities that extend into quantum frequencies, Your Majesty. I can see their sensor beams before they reach us. Their small craft slipped through microscopic gaps in the Zephyrian defense grid, guided by Kane's transformed abilities. The enemy flagship's docking bay appeared ahead, heavily guarded but not impregnable to someone who could calculate approach vectors at superhuman speed. Your Majesty, once we board their vessel, I'll be operating on instinct and enhanced capabilities that I don't fully understand yet, Kane warned. If my behavior becomes erratic or dangerous, you need to be prepared to complete the mission without me. Helena checked her sidearm and the portable quantum transmitter they would need to interface with the alien command systems. Colonel, you've already proven that the alien blood enhances the best human qualities rather than replacing them. I trust you. Kane felt something warm stir in his chest at her words. Despite the massive changes happening to his body and mind, Helena's faith reminded him of who he had been before the transformation. They docked with the Zephyrian flagship using stealth technology that Kane had modified with his enhanced understanding of alien engineering principles. The infiltration craft sealed to the enemy vessel's hull like a parasitic organism, cutting through their armor with molecular precision. Kane moved through the alien corridors with fluid grace that defied normal human anatomy. His enhanced senses detected Zephyrian life signs throughout the massive ship, but also something else, something that made his transformed blood sing with recognition. Your Majesty, there are other enhanced beings aboard this vessel, Kane whispered. I can sense them through some kind of biological resonance. Helena's tactical training recognized the implications immediately. The super soldiers they created from harvested genetic material. Kane nodded grimly. And they're aware that I'm here. The corridor ahead filled with figures that had once been members of various alien species, now transformed into weapons of living flesh and metal. Their enhanced forms bore similarities to Kane's transformation, but where his change had preserved his humanity, these creatures radiated nothing but predatory hunger. Kane stepped forward to meet them, his own enhanced abilities activating in response to the threat. When the first super soldier attacked, Kane's reflexes allowed him to move faster than Helena's eyes could follow. His enhanced strength met enhanced strength in combat that transcended normal physical limitations. But where the alien super soldiers fought with mechanical precision, Kane fought with tactical innovation and human adaptability. The alien blood had enhanced his natural human creativity rather than replacing it with programmed responses. Within moments, Kane had neutralized 3 enemy super soldiers using combat techniques that he was inventing in real time. His enhanced consciousness analyzed their weaknesses and exploited them with brutal efficiency. Helena watched in amazement as Kane demonstrated capabilities that went far beyond anything they had seen during the battle at the research station. Kane, you're not just enhanced anymore. You're evolving in real time. Kane felt the truth of her words. Each second of combat was teaching his transformed body and mind new possibilities. The alien blood wasn't just healing and strengthening him, it was accelerating his adaptation to meet every challenge. They reached the flagship's command center after fighting through corridors filled with enhanced alien warriors. Kane's abilities had continued evolving with each encounter, making him more formidable than any opponent they faced. The Zephyrian command center was a vast chamber filled with quantum processing systems that controlled the entire invasion fleet. At its heart sat the alien commander, a creature that had been enhanced far beyond the super soldiers they had fought. Kane stepped into the chamber, his silver eyes meeting the multifaceted gaze of the enemy commander. When the alien spoke, Kane found that he could understand its language through some quantum resonance effect of his transformation. "Human enhancement," the commander hissed. "You carry the blood of the ancients, but you are not one of our weapons." Kane felt recognition flood through his consciousness. The alien blood that had transformed him hadn't come from the Zephyrians at all. It was from something older, something that had seeded the galaxy with the potential for enhancement long before any current species had evolved. The ancients created the enhancement matrix to accelerate evolution, Kane realized aloud. But they intended it to preserve the essential nature of each species, not destroy it. The Zephyrian commander's expression shifted to something approaching fear. The human modification was not supposed to preserve independent thought. "You should be a weapon under our control." Kane smiled with teeth that now glowed with faint silver light. "Then you made a fundamental mistake about human nature." The battle for control of the Zephyrian fleet was about to begin, and Kane realized that he was fighting not just for humanity's survival, but for the true legacy of the mysterious ancients who had seeded the galaxy with transformative power.